Is it about changing the problem that's right in
Or is
front
it
of
your
you?
generation's time?
Let's find out.
Hi, I'm Niha, and I'm a failure. My name is Tara, and I too am a failure. Seeing as we're both failures, we decided to start off preparing for this talk by seeing what other people had to say on failure. We wanted to see if they could provide us with some insight. And so Tara and I hit up our local bookstore and went hunting for books with advice and guidance on failure. Which is when we encountered something strange. It seems that there were no books on failure. All we could find were books on success. And frankly, there were tons of them. Even the books that might have had failure, maybe on the back cover or in the inside flap, were actually about success. We were sure we could do better. So we decided to try our college library, and certainly somewhere in the millions of books in the college library system, we were going to find what we were looking for on failure. But we were wrong again. The first search result was a book about success. So we tried a couple other searches in bookstores, but we kept finding the same pattern. No one wants to talk about failure. Sure, we'll use terms like epic fail, and we'll make fun of other people's failures on funny websites like Failblog. But do we ever stop and seriously discuss how and why we fail? It's understandable. As students at a university, where even our dropouts do quite well for themselves, we've definitely felt the pressure to succeed. No one wants to admit that they failed at something. It's just so much easier to sweep it under the rug and couch it in terms of success. No wonder, in a culture that's all about winning, some people even blatantly recast their mistakes. But seriously, guys, the same goes for change making. In social innovation, when intent and result don't align, no one wants to blatantly admit that they've failed. Who wants to say that millions of dollars have been mismanaged? And frankly, who wants to hear it? In the tangled web of donors, foundations, nonprofits, there's simply very little dialogue about that scary word, failure. So what, you might say? Why does this matter? Well, I think that in not talking about failure, we're missing out on a tremendous opportunity to learn and to come up with creative and new solutions to old problems. In not talking about failure, we're effectively limiting ourselves, and we're perpetuating the cycle of old, old, old. And with the current problems we face, I think it's pretty clear that those old methods just aren't enough. If we want to be game changers, we need to be okay with the possibility of failure. You know, I think that if we want to be game changers, we need to learn to fail loudly and to fail proudly. Yeah. So today, before all of you, marks the start of our commitment to do better, to fail, and to be transparent about it. Okay, guys, here goes. We failed spectacularly last summer. We were in India with a third student, Maddie Smith, and we were all passionate about an idea to change a community where nearly 85% of women have been forced into prostitution. Our grand plan? To provide a collaborative, sustainable, alternative income generation program making tank tops. Cumulatively, we had spent the past few years researching and traveling to this community, learning about markets and design, talking to professors and academics, and also talking and seeking advice from other nonprofits and social enterprises that had done similar things. We had raised around $20,000, and we were working with a partner organization on the ground in India to provide these women with sewing and embroidery training for the course of a year. We had even worked with a fashion designer in Boston to create a tank top that the women could embroider and sell for a profit. We believed we were ready. But when we got to Najafgarh, the community where the women lived, we realized how wrong we were. We learned that the nonprofit we had been working with had been sending us misinformation
over the course of the year about what was really happening on the ground.
We had no idea where our funding had gone. Basic services like vocational training and doctor's visits, things that we had supposedly funded, and things that had supposedly been happening over the course of the year were non-existent. And here we were, 3 college students with no idea what to do.
Our plan had gone completely wrong, and we were forced to reevaluate and shift our strategy, but we had no money left. So we decided to focus on trying to connect the community with existing government resources like healthcare and education. Yet even this process was mired in inefficiency and corruption. A successful day for us was one that we went to a government office and found that the person we were supposed to be meeting with was actually there and hadn't stood us up for the meeting.
Whether we left this summer having made a sustainable impact or creating change, we simply don't know. What we do know is that we left with the sad and bitter taste of failure in our mouths. And this taste did not only come from the fact that we had failed to do what we had set out to do. It came from the fact that we had failed a community of women who are vibrant, intelligent, and beautiful, but simply because of chance and circumstance will never have the opportunities that Niha and I have standing before you right now.
Things got even harder when we got home. There were plenty of opportunities for us to keep quiet, to pretend to our family and friends that our summer had been a success and that we had really made substantive change. Yet we also knew that we owed it to the women and to ourselves to actively share our experience on what had gone wrong.
What we realized was that if we wanted to move forward, we needed to do something and engage in some sort of dialogue about the summer. What we needed was to talk about failure.
So we did. We returned the grant money we had received and told the grant maker all about our summer. We wrote an article in our school newspaper, causing an uproar because of our honesty. We told everyone and anyone about our failure.
Even though every single admission of failure was painful, every step was difficult, it provided us with an opportunity to think and reflect in an incisive and meaningful way that perhaps wouldn't have happened otherwise. We began to think about larger issues, about transparency and honesty in change-making. How do you do something that's sustainable and effective?
And in thinking about these issues, we've now embarked on a new project, a project that we can pour our passion into and that uses text messaging to improve transparency and the quality of education in India. We can look back on our summer and say that it really was for something, that in the end, we really did learn to look at age-old problems with new age thinking.
But I think it is only through experiencing failure, and then, most importantly, through talking about that failure, that we have been able to get here.
Our failure is an emotional and painful burden, yes, but it is also a wellspring of change-making power.
So, Niha and I both hope that you are all ready to together go out into the world, fail, and most importantly, talk about it. As young people, even more so than adults, we have the unique opportunity. No, we have a privilege to be able to turn our failures on their heads, to subvert their meanings, and use them to shake the world.
And as for us, well, we hope our new project succeeds, but it might also fail.
Either way, we promise to tell you all about it. Thank you.